welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Sonia, a self-taught designer, hand letterer, and illustrator. We can also connect on Instagram, just drawing words. That's where I share a lot of my daily stuff like daily life, lettering and drawing and all that good stuff. In today's video, I want to share 4 simple ways to make your lettering instantly pop out from the crowd. These 4 methods are, number 1, super easy, number 2, not time consuming, it only takes maybe a few minutes for you to do, and number 3, anybody can follow. So something that's super easy, super quick, but at the same time, it gives you that impact, that effect that makes your lettering instantly stand out. If this is something that interests you, keep on watching. Okay, so the first method I'm going to show you is to go from a plain scripted lettering like this to something like this. Really easy to create, doesn't take that long. So one thing to notice though is that it works best when you have a colored background. So in this case I chose blue, but notice that we're using a white here, so something that will go well or have that contrasting effect. Using that kind of a color as a background will work the best. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hide this. I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and make a copy of this scripted lettering to here. So I have a separate layer here. I'm just going to grab that. Okay, so we're going to make one copy of your lettering. Now you're going to go to that layer. So I'm going to just show you up here. Okay, so this is your new, let's say this is your lettering layer. And again, we have a colored background. And all we're gonna do is we're gonna duplicate this layer and then turn one of them into white. In order to do that, all you need to really do is just grab white color and drag. That didn't really work well. Like so. Okay, so what's gonna happen is we have 2 layers. One is your lettering layer, your original, and then we have another layer that is white. All we need is to move the white below the red one, the original, and then we're gonna move the top one slightly to the left. So I'm gonna grab this and I'm just gonna move a little bit, just like that. So the moving part is I'm going this way, like this, kind of like slightly that way, diagonal, right? Okay, I'm gonna do that. And then all I'm gonna do from here is go to my red original layer and we're gonna change the blending mode. So I'm gonna go click on N, which is for normal. And then I'm gonna press on, click on multiply. Ta-da! And then that will instantly give you that effect that looks like it's printed. And that's all you need to do. So the second method is going from a plain lettering like this to something that's more colorful like this. The logic is the same, and I'll show you how to do one of the example, but you could do something like this, or you could add something like this. So again, the logic is the same, but adding these kind of patterns to the lettering makes your lettering instantly pop out. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a copy again. So I'm just gonna grab this layer, 3 swipe, copy, and then I'm gonna paste it, and then I'm gonna create another one. Now what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna create a separate layer. So this is my copy layer, the second one, this one. I'm gonna create another new layer on top of it, and then we're gonna go ahead and make that color effect. So I'm gonna go ahead and, in this case, again, you could pretty much do any brush, any pattern. I'm just gonna show you one example, but you could pretty much change it to your liking. So in this case, I'm gonna use a airbrushing, soft airbrush. And I'm just gonna go ahead and color on top of it. So let's say, for example, I'm gonna go ahead and color maybe yellow, more bigger up here. And then I'm gonna do this color, and then maybe this pink, purple, whatever color you want to do. You don't it doesn't have to be this color. It could be any way you want. So let's say I want to have this effect on the lettering. Once you're done, so again, we have two layers. We have this pink layer, right? And then we have this drawing layer, this colorful layer on top of it. All you need to do is grab that colorful layer, click on it, and do a clipping mask. And it will show that color effect just on the lettering. If you want to learn more about the clipping mask, how it all works, I have a separate video for that. I will go ahead and tag it here so you can check it out. But for the purpose of this video, all you need to do is create an extra layer, do the colorful whatever effect you want to do on top of it. And when you use the clipping mask, again here, it's gonna only apply to the lettering below. So the third method is going from this kind of a 3D lettering style, which looks pretty good, but just adding this one little thing makes it look even better. So if you look at really close, I'm adding a little shadows inside. So it almost looks like it is a 3D, but has an inverse 3D going on the top part. So here you go. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and make a copy of this. I'm gonna just duplicate the whole thing and then move it to the side. So just to show you the layers, currently I have a outline layer. So you have to notice that you have to separate these layers. And then I have this solid layer and then the 3D portion. If you're interested in learning how to create a 3D lettering, I also have a separate video for that. So I'll go ahead and link that as well so you can check it out. But again, for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to show you how to create that shadowy effect within the solid and the outline. So all we're going to do is, again, as I showed you before, here you go, we're going to just try to add these shadows inside. So it has an extra effect. So what I'm going to do is from that, so again, we have a outline, solid, and a 3D layer, and I'm gonna go ahead and create a separate layer between an outline and a solid. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a layer, and we're gonna work here. So all we're gonna do is grab a darker brush. In this case, I'm gonna just grab something same as this, or maybe a little bit darker, something like that. I am gonna go ahead and use the brush called inking. Under inking, it's called Studio Pen. Again, it doesn't matter what brush you use, whatever that you prefer. And all I'm gonna do is go ahead and draw that outline, that line, that extra shadow in that new layer that is under the outline but above the solid. So something like this, like that. Right? I'm adding that line. You can't see that well right now. So what you're gonna do is go back to that layer, and all you have to do is change the blending mode. So right now it's normal, click on that, and we're gonna just change it to multiply. And you could adjust the opacity to your liking. So voila, you see the difference? Nothing versus a little shadow. So if I were to do it again, something like this, right? You just work on it with the blending mode. You could turn on the blending mode first and then work whatever you like to do. Oops. But something like this. Now, some of the questions I get is, well, I'm not sure where to add the shadow. If you are struggling with that, for example, then there is a really quick way to find out where to add the shadow. So I'm gonna just turn off this layer for now. So again, if I were to delete this, we have this 3 layers. We have outline, solid, and 3D. You know you're gonna have to add something in between, but you're not sure exactly where to add. Okay, let's create another layer here, and then go back to your solid layer, and then what you need to do is just select the solid layer and then move this way. If I were to move this way like this, slightly diagonal this way, if I do that, you would see this gap here. That is where your shadow is gonna go. So you see this gap here. So what you can do is you can just go back to that layer where we're creating a shadow. Let's change this to multiply mode. Actually, it doesn't matter, but let's change the blending mode to multiply. And then if you were to draw on top of it like this, you see where the gap is? Just follow that. And that's where your shadow is gonna go. And once you're done drawing that, all of them, just go back to your solid layer and move it back to where it was, like so. Ta-da! And then you will have no problem or have any, get confused on where the shadow is gonna lie. Okay, last but not least is adding slight texture. That really just takes a minute to do, well, less than a minute. So this here, we have Be Ready. It's just a plain lettering, and you could add this halftone texture. Look at this one. And then it looks instantly, it instantly pops out. So what I'm gonna do here, again, I'm gonna just go ahead and make a copy of this. So let me just delete all this. Okay, so we have this lettering. I'm just gonna go ahead and make a copy. Okay, all we're gonna do is, so this is a new one, and I'm gonna go ahead and create a mask. In order to do that, you're gonna just click on it and then hit on mask. And then you see this blue bar means which layer I'm working on. So I need to work on a layer mask, and I'm gonna go ahead and draw the texture on top of it. Again, in order to understand, and if you're interested, if you're interested in learning how the layer mask works, I also have a video for that. I'm gonna go ahead and attach it here. But the basic is you have to make sure you're using a black color. If you notice, if you click on a regular layer, I was using a pink color, so that shows up. But when you click on this blue bar is on the layer mask, only white or black works. So in this case, it automatically changes to black. Black works like an eraser. So all I'm gonna do is just choose the brush, and then if I draw it on top, it almost looks like I'm erasing it with that texture. So again, I'm gonna go ahead and select the blue bar, has to be on the layer mask. Make sure your color is black. Go to your brush. I'm using, in this case, On the Road, Halftone 02. I will also put all the information about the brushes in the description box below. So once I select that, all I'm gonna do is just draw on top, just like so. So you could see that I instantly put the texture on the lettering, but nowhere else, and it instantly looks so much better. Another thing that you could control from here is the opacity. So if I were to, the bar right here, this controls the brush size, this controls the opacity. If I were to, let's say, use it 100% opacity, it could be a little harsh. You could see that. So if you don't like this, you could just go ahead and control the opacity before you draw it. And do like this, and voila. That's it. Alright, that's it from me. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of these, please go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss any of these videos. I'm also trying to make videos that's more geared toward you. So if you have any ideas, struggles, techniques that you want to see, feel free to leave it in the comments below so I can go ahead and incorporate that in my future videos. You could also email me, or you could DM me on Instagram. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.